house. We do not care about your religion. You can believe whatever you want to believe. But please, we have to all believe in Santa Claus. If you don't, oh well.
So, I like to do things a little differently. So yeah, I did mostly Christmas ghost stories, and Christmas UFOs, and I actually even looked up Santa sightings because Santa is sighted quite a bit in this country.
And people still say he's not real.
People report now. Mostly it's kids who report seeing him, but they see him like out on the street.
Honestly, Christmas movies make me believe in Santa Claus, so I don't know about you, but...
So, yeah, I like to do things a little different. So, let's start with our Christmas ghosts. Now, first we're going to talk about Hawkhurst Road. Hawkhurst Road is located in Marden, Kent. It is mostly an unassuming road like any other in the area, but it was here one dark Christmas Eve in the 18th century, a notorious highwayman by the name of Gilbert stopped a horse-drawn carriage carrying a man and his daughter. Now, a highwayman was what they used to call a bandit. He would stop people on the road and steal their stuff. Sometimes he'd shoot.
Why not?
I wonder if the author who wrote the children's story book about Caillou
He has a cat named Gilbert the Highwayman.
Just Gilbert.
Okay. Anyway, so according to the tale, the bandit had the daughter step out of the carriage, but before he could get the father to step out, the horses spooked and bolted away into the night along with the carriage. And so it left the daughter there alone with this murderous madman of a thief looming over her. And suddenly she realized that this was the very same guy that must have killed her brother along the very same stretch of lonely road the year before. So the bandit's leering at her through the moonlight, but she's no victim, right? She's like smart. She pulls out a knife, and at first she runs away. Well,
You don't want to trust a girl holding a knife. Girls can be really crazy.
Well, Gilbert is not going to have any of that. He chases after her. He catches her. He spins her around.
And he's
she
stupid,
goes,
too.
"Ugh," and plunges the knife into his chest. And he takes a step back, looks down, realizes there's a big hole in his chest, falls over dead.
Jesus.
Does anybody notice that the bad guy in this story gets his name, but the girl is just a girl?
Right? Like, jeez. Give her some credit.
I would, but, one,
I wasn't
I don't
talking...
know how much truth there is to these tales. I really don't. Two, if it is from the 18th century, unfortunately, it's fairly common. I mean, women were not given their due back in the 18th century. They were sort of looked on as, well, property.
Property.
I get it.
That doesn't make it cool or right, but
I know.
It still happens sometimes these days, but not to say guys aren't special as well. Thank you for being here, males.
But anyway, from that day forward, now on Christmas Eve on that stretch of road, you will see a carriage stopped by a strange man. You will see him chasing a girl, and you will see him fall to the ground, clutching his chest. And those are things that you will see every year on Hawkhurst Road around Christmas.
Fun.
Wow.
So let's talk about Hayar Castle. Now, Hayar Castle was originally built in 1270 by the Bullen family. In fact, the leader of the house at that time was a gentleman by the name of Henry Bullen. Now, some generations later, there was a Thomas Bullen who changed his name to Thomas Boleyn, Olyn.
name sounds familiar.
Yes. Yes, it does. Because he eventually led to the birth of Anne and Mary Boleyn. Now,
In other words, he was a relative of the famous Boleyn sisters.
right. Now, Mary began to have an affair with King Henry VIII,
Jeez.
which isn't that uncommon at the time, because King Henry VIII, I think, slept with roughly half the women in England. Roughly.
Which, you know, is
Probably.
why so many of us are related to stuff. Anyway.
So, now, at the time King Henry VIII was married to Catherine of Aragon, he was really unhappy with his marriage to Catherine, and was also a bit of a scoundrel with the women, and an incorrigible lech. All the things you want.
And isn't he the one who was always eating turkey legs and stuff, too?
Well, yeah. Yeah. He became bored with Mary, and he chose to pursue her sister Anne, who proved to be hard to get. She spurned his advances and told him that if he really wanted to be with her, he'd have to divorce Catherine and marry her first.
Well, yeah.
The king allegedly became absolutely obsessed with Anne, writing her dozens of letters professing his undying love for her, like some lovesick schoolboy, and generally being what we would call today a creepy old man.
Yep.
All the while working on his divorce from his wife. In the meantime, Anne was given the title Anne Marchioness of Pembroke, and was given money, royal lodgings, the works, because if he hadn't given her a royal title, he couldn't have married her. Anne eventually gave in to his relentless advances and got pregnant with King Henry's child, after which they got secretly married in 1533 and she became queen. At the time, she was not liked by the populace at all, with most thinking that she was a seducer who had stolen the king away from the more popular Catherine.
Yeah.
The whole thing was a major scandal in the era, and it ended up leading to the king severing the relationship between England and the Catholic Church in Rome.
Followed by him severing a few heads, but that's later on in the story.
Well, it also led to the founding of the Protestant religion, and you know, which is so funny because in England it is, like at the time it was kind of blood and thunder, and now it's become sort of like really super milquetoast. So, anyway, around this time, King Henry was soon chasing skirts again, this time a bridesmaid from their own wedding, a young comely woman named Jane Seymour. Now, to make matters worse, there were numerous rumors being tossed around that Anne was sleeping around with everything that moved, including incest with her own brother, and the king began to believe it.
Fun.
To say he did not take it well would be an understatement, and King Henry had Anne arrested, charged with treasonous adultery, as opposed to any other kind, and beheaded in 1536 at the Tower of London. Now, the Hayter Castle itself would be passed around to different owners over the years, including American millionaire William Waldorf Astor in 1903, the guy that created the Waldorf Astoria.
Yep, that's the one.
Yep. Now, eventually, it came to Broadland Properties Limited, who have put it on public display. But through it all, one resident has remained the same throughout the centuries, and that is Anne Boleyn herself, seen quite often at Hayter Castle.
Very nice, Anne. You stick to it, girl.
She appears every Christmas Eve.
Well, you know.
Now, also in England, we have Roos Hall, R-O-O-S, in Suffolk, built in the 16th century. It is an imposing building with an undefinable spooky ambiance, and a twisted and gnarled, monstrous-looking old oak tree out front that was once used for gallows.
Yeah.
Because why not have a murder tree in front of your house? In fact, I think we should have one.
No, I think we have a tree in front of our house. We're good.
But I want a murder tree.
It's
No.
too short to No murder tree for you.
Nope.
Not unless we're going to murder really short, like, criminal type. Like midget criminals.
Yes.
Can't say that word. My God. Insensitive much?
I guess. How about...
Short criminals.
Little person. They're little people.
How about...
I don't mind little people, but if they're a criminal, no.
challenged criminals.
Okay, I'll take that.
Sorry. I apologize for anyone I have offended.
I'm sorry as well.
So, Roos Hall is awash with hauntings. It has a footprint of the devil there, a phantom hound that prowls the grounds, which is pretty common in England. But there's the one thing that happens every Christmas Eve is this coach pulled by 4 snorting jet black horses will just appear in the night and come riding down the road towards the estate. And it's charging down the driveway, and just as it gets to the estate,
Bye-bye.
it just goes to poof.
It's away. Well, that is interesting.
Yep.
So there's poofing.
And a woman was playing hide and seek with some friends at the local church.
Mm-hmm.
A grown woman was playing hide and seek at a...
No. She was a child when she was doing it, but she is recounting the story as she's older.
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Before we start talking about the little girl, women can play tag. Women can play hide and seek.
I don't have any problem with women playing whatever they want to play. There's a time and a place.
Well, yeah, around the church isn't the best place to do it, though.
That's all I was thinking.
Okay.
All right, my love, continue.
Well, so they're playing hide and seek in this church. And now the church is actually in Western Samoa. And so they're playing hide and seek in the church and in the graveyard, which is the most respectful thing you can do.
Well, okay.
And the boy who's it goes into the church to see if his brother is hiding in there.
No, you don't go in the church without permission.
And so he goes into the church, and he sees a boy standing there with his back to him. Now he thinks it's his brother, so he goes up to tap him on the shoulder and say, "Hey, I caught you." Well, as soon as he does, the boy standing at the altar vanishes.
Oh, boy.
And the boy fainted. Well, all the kids came running because he wasn't looking for him. They didn't know where he was. And so they find him in the church, passed out, and when they give him to wake up, he tells them the story.
I see.
So, that's a Christmas ghost.
Yep, that sounds Christmas ghost-like to me.
So, let's take a moment for another Christmas greeting, and then we will discuss Christmas UFOs. Because isn't that festive?
I'll just hit the fucking button.
Wait, what are we saying? I was about to say happy birthday. Shit, what are we saying?
Happy holidays from Drunk Theory.
Good enough.
I feel like
Neither one of y'all did it. Let's do it again.
I asked you what to say, and then you said it together instead of telling me what to say.
All right, we're going to send him this whole thing too. He can edit it
Wait,
himself.
what is it again? Happy holidays from Drunk Theory.
Yeah,
there
you
you
ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy holidays from Drunk Theory. Woo!
Boom, boom.